Hi all. Now we'll discuss NCCG 2010 question paper. So in that the first one, question number 91. The evolutionary convergence is characterized by what? So here the development of common set of characteristics in group of different ancestors. So to just understand this question, just look into what is convergent and what is divergent evolutions first. So here in the convergent evolution, so which you can see here. See, I've just taken one simple example to understand this. Say this is one geographical area and this is another geographical area. One species is shown in circle, the other species is shown as a star symbol. Now, here for this species to survive, for these individuals to survive in this particular geographical area, it should possess blue color. Therefore, say for example, it is having some camouflage. The same way, here it should have orange color for its survival. Now, few of these organisms and few of this entered into one new geographical area where say the color required is green. So at some point of their reproduction, due to variations, this one has produced green colored organism and this one also produced green colored organism. They are able to survive now. Now if you just compare these two, they were actually having a different ancestry. So this organism's ancestry is this organism's ancestry is this. They are not related actually, but the characteristic here. So here the characteristics is color, for example, when I take. So they are having same characteristic, but having different ancestry. Or in the other way to say, if they possess similar organs, that is organs performing the similar function but having different ancestry. So that's how we can take this. This kind of evolution is called convergent evolution. Now this characteristic is analogous characteristic, or if I am talking about the organs developed in such a way are called analogous organs. So examples for this: tendril of grapevine and tendril of pea. Now tendrils in both performing the same function, that is climbing only. But when you just look into the origin, grapevine tendril is the modification of axillary bud, whereas in pea it is a modification of leaf. So there is a difference. Now wings of butterfly and wings of bird. As we know, butterfly is actually insect, bird is actually aves. But still organs are performing the same function, but ancestry is different. Eyes of octopus, eyes of mammals. Again, one is mollusca, the other one is chordata. Flippers of penguins, that is bird. Flippers of dolphin or flippers of whale, mammals. So here again, flippers performing the same function, but they have different ancestry. Such kind of evolution is convergent evolution, and that lead to analogous organs development. Now in the case of divergent evolution, let us start at this particular point. Now here there are some organisms which are adapted to this particular geographical area. Say here the color is blue. Now few of these migrated to this geographical area, few of this into this, and few into this. Three different geographical areas we have taken here. Now the organism migrated to this at some point of time change to this particular color. The same way this into green and this one into some orange color. Now among these different saffron color, whatever it is, now here among these different organisms, now when I just compare these two, one is in this some gray colored area and this one is in the green colored one. Here they are having different colors because of the geographical area to which they are adapted to, but they have common ancestry. So if the organs are developed according to the need, they differ in these two. So they have different kind of organs, but having common ancestry. That is organs performing different functions, but having common ancestry. That is homologous organs. This is due to divergent evolution. This is diverged from a single region. It's a divergent evolution, whereas the earlier one is convergent one. So different organisms converge into the same geographical area. So divergent evolution will lead to homologous organs like this. So examples include thorn of bougainvillea, tendril of cucurbita. Both are have modifications of the same, that is axillary bud only, but performing different functions. Forelimbs of various mammals. In the case of human, we have hands, whereas in the case of tiger, the forelimbs will perform a different function for uh, locomotion and all. And when it comes to dolphin or maybe whale, there they have flippers. There they are useful in the swimming. Or bat, they have patagia, that is wing-like structures. So all are performing different functions but are having the common ancestry. Such kind of structures are called homologous organs. Proteins and genes in various organisms. Now, if you just take some proteins of different organisms, they may perform different functions. But when you just see the sequence, you can find some similarity. It is because of common ancestry. The same way genes also. So such kind of proteins and genes also will come under this homologous structures only. So this is how the divergent evolution will be. Now our question is evolutionary convergence. It's a convergence is characterized by. So it lead to the development of common set of characteristics, that is analogous characteristics in different groups of different ancestry. So this is the answer is. Stanley Miller performed some experiment in which he didn't use. He has taken ammonia, methane, H2, water vapors. These are all the components in this experiment. An energy source also there, but not oxygen. It is an oxygenic condition. The character that proves that frogs have evolved from fishes. So if you just look into the larval stage, they resemble the fishes. That's the answer is tadpole. The change of the lighter colored variety of peppered moth to its darker variety is due to. So it is due to mutation basically. Which one of the following phenomena supports Darwin's concept of natural selection in organic evolution? So here development of transgenic animals. Transgenic animals is not because of Darwin's theory. You cannot support that. Dolly is actually cloning. It's not Darwin's concept. Development of organs from stem cells from organ transplantation. It is not also not related to Darwin's theory. Now if you just see the Darwin's theory in brief, when I just take a population like this, it is having some number of individuals, say here 6. Every species, all the individuals of a species will have the capability to reproduce. That is, every species is having the capability to reproduce and increase its number. That is prodigality of the production is. Because of which the population size will increase. From here to here the population size is increased. This is what the biotic potential is. Every species is having its own biotic potential for the reproduction. This is first thing is in the Darwin's theory. Now because of the increased population, there is struggle for the existence, there is a competition, increased competition for the limited resources, therefore there is struggle for the existence. Now as a result of reproduction, directly there may be some variations generated. So here the original population, say if I take as blue and the red one is some kind of variations generated. So in a population due to sexual reproduction, variations generated. There is a struggle for existence, and in the same population there are variations. Now in this environment, a particular character, say for example this particular character may be having some advantage, survival advantage in one new geographical area or maybe in that area only. Therefore, this may increase its number like this. The original population may remain as such or it may extinct. Now in this case I have taken 2. So in this case, this one and this one. Now you can see when they develop some reproductive barrier, they may develop into 2 different species. So this is what the natural selection is. So here the change in nature, change in environment has selected a particular variant. So this is what the Darwin's theory about natural selection about. The cranial capacity of modern man is nearest to. See, then if you just see the Neanderthal man is the one just before the Homo sapiens. Therefore, the cranial capacity is close to Neanderthal man. Brain capacity of Homo erectus is 900 cc. Now the other individuals, if we just see other species, Homo habilis, it is 650 to 800 cc, it is cubic centimeters. Neanderthal man is 1400 cc. Homo sapiens is 1300 to 1600 cc. Variation in gene frequencies within populations can occur by chance rather than by natural selection. So there is change in the gene frequency, but it is not because of natural selection. That is what the genetic drift is. It is also called the Sewall-Wright effect. The gene flow term refers to. So here gene flow means what? Is the question is exchange of genes over a chromosome. This is crossing over and recombination is inversion of genes over chromosome. It is a mutation, one kind of mutation, chromosomal mutation. A passing of the genes from one generation to the other generation. It is inheritance. It is not the gene flow. You cannot consider this one as a gene flow, although the genes are coming from one generation to the other generation. Actually, gene flow particularly refers to the flow of or transfer of genes from one population to the other population. So genetic result of intergroup mating. So the genes can be migrated, can move from one generation to the one population to the other population through mating. So sexual reproduction will lead to this particular gene flow. The golden age of reptiles is Mesozoic era. Charles Darwin was the first person to propose that evolution occurs. Darwin is not the one who proposed that evolution occurred first. It is there are other scientists are there before him, like Lamarck and all. That Earth is older than few thousand years. That population growth can outpace the growth of food resources. Mechanism it is actually not of here, like it is not original. His original idea. Next. A mechanism for the evolution that was supported by evidence. This is what his basic idea is. He is the one who proposed this one first time. Natural selection is based on the following. So variations exist within populations. Best adapted individuals tend to leave more number of offspring. Individuals who survive longer tend to leave more offspring than those who die young. So all these are related to the natural selection only. Which of the following is correct for the structures A, B, C, D? Just now we have seen these are all the homologous organs of different mammals. So A, B, C, D show divergent evolution, homologous organs. The figure provided shows this is what the adaptive radiation is about, and adaptive radiation in mammals only, but it is marsupial mammal. So this is the answer. A is the answer. And adaptive radiation will lead to divergent evolution. Haeckel's recapitulation theory or biogenetic law states that, so according to Haeckel, ontogeny, that is the development of organism recapitulates, repeats the phylogeny, that is evolutionary history. So the evolutionary history of one species is repeated during its development, is what Haeckel's proposal was. So answer is A. So it's a diagrammatic representation of different types of natural selection, in which the first one is here A is the disruptive one, whereas the B is the directional one, it is moving towards one side, whereas this one is stabilized one because the average phenotype is increasing from both sides the selection pressure. So here the selection will be from two sides. Selection pressure will be from two sides, whereas here it is only from one direction, whereas here it is two directions in the opposite way. Reproductive isolation is, so reproductive isolation basically refers to the inability to interbreed. So if I have two different populations, so I'll consider this as a reproductive isolation when they are not able to interbreed. So then I can consider them as two different species. Freshly released human egg has, so female is basically XX. So egg obviously consists of only one X. So Y there is no chance at all. So B is the answer. Sperms are cells are produced in seminiferous tubules. Carda epididymis leads to. So in epididymis there are three different components. Caput epididymis. Caput is head. corpus, the remaining body. This is corpus epididymis. Tail, cauda epididymis. So this one will lead to vas deferens. The nutritive medium for the ejaculated sperms is given by, the nutritive medium is given by seminal fluid. In which phase of cell division is oogonia arrested? See, the cell division in oogonia arrested twice, two times. One in prophase 1 in diplotin stage. The other one in the metaphase 2, not in the prophase 2. That's why this is not the answer. So answer is B. So it is arrested in prophase 1 and metaphase 2. So in meiosis 1 as well as meiosis 2, the cell cycle is arrested, but here prophase 1, here it is metaphase 2. In prophase 1, it is diplotin stage. Egg is liberated from the ovary in. So when the egg is released from the ovary, it is actually in the secondary oocyte stage. So it hasn't completed the second meiotic division yet. At the end of first meiotic division, male sperm differentiate into. So if you just see the development of the sperms, primary spermatocyte will undergo the first round of meiosis, that is meiosis 1 or reduction division, the first part, which produce two secondary spermatocytes. Now each secondary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis 2 to produce spermatid. Therefore, totally 4 spermatids are produced. Each one will develop into 4 sperms. So the answer is secondary spermatocyte because it is first meiotic division that is asked. Vasa efferentia are the ductules leading from. So if we just see the transport of sperms from its development into its ejaculation completely. So this is how the transport will be. First, the sperms are produced inside the seminiferous tubules. After that, the seminiferous tubules will open into tubulus rectus, which in turn will open into rete testis. Rete testis will open into vas efferentia, that in turn open into epididymis. This epididymis, just now we have seen caput, cauda and corpus and cauda. So this cauda epididymis will open into vas deferens. Now this vas deferens will be combined with a duct from seminal vesicle. That is actually a pair of seminal vesicles are there. So these ducts are combined with this vas deferens, two different vas deferens. Now all these are combined to form the ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct will pass through the prostate. It is passing through the prostate and will open into urethra. Now during this passage, this is added with the ducts from the prostate and the Cowper's gland. So urethra will receive the ducts from both the prostate as well as Cowper's gland. So this is how the sperm's transport will be. Spermatozoa are nourished during their development by, so it is Sertoli cells. Correct sequence in the development is, so fertilization will lead to the zygote formation, which will undergo cleavage. So initial stage is morula. Morula will develop into blastula. In this stage only there will be implantation. After that there will be gastrula formation. So formation of blastula, that is, this stage is called blastulation, whereas the formation of gastrula is called gastrulation. See here, this is the gastrulation is. So blastula, which is one hollow ball-like structure. This is the trophoblastis or trophactoderm, and there will be inner cell mass, and this is blastocoeles. It is converted into gastrula. Now gastrula is the one that actually consists of this ectoderm, endoderm. Now in the this particular region is called archenteron. The archenteron's opening is called the blastopore. And if you remember, in the animal kingdom we have seen the development of organisms. Here you can see some differences, that is blastopore, this particular blastopore only may develop into mouth in the case of protostomous organisms and anus in the case of deuterostomous organisms. Which part of the sperm provides energy to the fertilized egg, to fertilize egg? So where the sperm is getting the energy from? It is from the middle piece because that's where the mitochondria are. What is true for cleavage? So in the cleavage differs from this regular mitosis, where the cell size will not increase. In the regular mitosis, cell will undergo mitosis to produce say two different cells in the process of mitosis. These cells will increase in size. So after attaining certain nucleoplasm to cytoplasm ratio, again they can undergo another round of mitosis. But in the case of cleavage, it is also mitosis only. So division occurred, two cells produced. Now the size of these two cells will be half of approximately the parent cell. So this is how the two cells are now. Now another division like this. So overall the cell size is not changing. Sorry, cell size is decreasing, the overall size is not changing. So the size of the cells decreases is what the cleavage is. Seminal vesicle is present in the junction of, just now we have seen it is present in the junction of prostate and vas deferens. Clitoris in mammal is, so clitoris in the female of female mammal is homologous to the penis in the case of male. In the same way, the other important homologous structures, when you just see, there are paraurethral glands or glands of skin in the female which are homologous to prostate gland of male. Labia majora in the external genitalia in female is similar to or homologous to scrotal sac of male. Seminal plasma in humans is rich in, it is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. Withdrawal of which of the following hormones is the immediate cause of menstruation? So it is the progesterone hormone. Some important events in the human female reproductive cycle are given. It's from the menstrual cycle. The answer is B. The cavity present in the Graafian follicle is, the cavity present is antrum, which is filled with some fluid, and that consists of the hormones like estrogen. Most important component of oral contraceptive is, so in the oral contraceptives the important component is progesterone along with the estrogens. So this is the progesterone is. Cryptorchidism is a condition in which, so testis does not descend into the scrotal sac. As we know, the testis will be present inside the abdominal cavity in the fetus stage, but during the 7th month of development, this testes will be descended into the scrotal sacs. If they are not descended into the scrotal sacs, that condition is called cryptorchidism. So if you see the technique, the meaning of etymology of this cryptorchidism, cryptos means we know it is hidden. So orchidism, where orchid or orchis refers to the testicles. That is, cryptorchidism is the hidden testis. That's why the cryptorchidism name is. Next, similar kind of term it is archaeectomy. So as we have seen vasectomy, tubectomy, where ectomy, tomy is actually cutting is or removal is. Archaeectomy, just now we have seen archis means again testis. So removal of testis is archaeectomy. It is also called castration. And if you see the word orchid, that is the plant name, this one also actually derived from this only, where the plants are actually testicle plants. The original name of this orchids is. The figure given below depicts a diagrammatic section view of female reproductive system. So just parts are asked. It is C. In a normal pregnant woman, the amount of total gonadotropin activity was assessed. So what you can observe in that? So here high levels of FSH and LH is wrong, because there will not be high levels of this, because there will be high levels of estrogen and progesterone actually, which will prevent this secretion, and this increased levels is because of HCG, that is human chorionic gonadotropin. So the answer is B. Select the odd one out with respect to wall layers of microsporangium in flowering plants. As we know, integuments are the protective layers of ovule, not the microsporangium, therefore it is integument. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils. It is because of sporopollenin, one resistant material, which is present in the X sign. Two-cell stage of pollen grains is the result of, so it's the result of asymmetric mitosis where two unequally sized cells are produced. Mark the adoption with respect to contrivances, that is adaptations to autogamy. So as the plants are having adaptations for cross pollination, they are also having adaptations for autogamy, that is self pollination also. In that, one of the thing is homogamy, where male and female reproductive systems will be matured at the same time. It's just opposite to dichogamy. So in the case of dichogamy, the maturation will be in two different times. Either the male reproductive system can mature first, or maybe female, as in the case of uh, so different plants like one is say protandry. So we have seen the term protandry in the case of contrivances to cross pollination, where protos is first and ecium is maturation of and ecium first. The same way protogamy. So these two are actually dichogamous types. Now in the case of homogamy, both are maturing at the same time. So it will encourage actually autogamy. Cleistogamy is closed flowers, as we know, it will not allow the cross pollination. Dicliny is actually the adaptation for cross pollination. Bud pollination means pollination in the bud stage only. This one also will encourage the autogamy only. Which of the following pollination is common amongst abiotic agents? It is anemophily. In chalazogamy, pollen tube enters the ovule through. So first thing is chalazogamy means when you just look into the growth of pollen tube into the ovule, the pollen tube can enter into the ovule in three different ways. One is porogamy, where the pollen tube will directly enter through the micropylar end, that is pore micropyle. In the case of chalazogamy, the pollen tube will enter into the ovule through chalaza. In the case of mesogamy, pollen tube will enter through integuments like this or like this. See, irrespective of the pollen tube's entry into the ovule, the entry of pollen tube into the embryo sac now will be always through micropyle only. So here, or if it is coming through chalaza, it will enter into the embryo sac only through micropyle only. The same way mesogamy also, entry into embryo sac will be embryo sac only. That is micropyle only. So it is always micropyle. So whether it is chalazogamy, porogamy or mesogamy, pollen tube enter ovule through. Oh sorry, this so question is about, sorry, it is ovule. So entry into the ovule is actually B, that is chalaza. So if it is embryo sac, then it will be micropyle. So the answer is actually chalaza. Next, epiblastis. So it is reduced to cotyledon in the monocot. Perisperm is found in the seeds of. So perisperm is actually a remnant of nucellus. So this can be found in Piper nigrum, that is black pepper or maybe beetroot. Seeds of which of the plant were discovered during the archaeological excavations at King Herod's palace near Dead Sea. It is present in Jerusalem, near in the Mediterranean region. This one is actually the Phoenix dactyliferais. Whereas in the Arctic region, the plant, the seeds that are found are Lupinus arcticus. That's why the name Arcticus. So here it is 10,000 years, whereas the Phoenix dactyliferai is 2,000 years. And one more important thing, Phoenix dactylifera is an example for the metaxenia also. That is effect of pollen on the somatic cells outside the endosperm. So that is called metaxenia. So that is also example for that. Polyploidy level of nucellus is diploid, female gametophyte is haploid. The number of nuclei in a mature embryo sac are, so it is totally 8. Cells is 7, whereas nuclei is 8 in the polygamous type of embryo sac. Polygonum type of embryo sac. Geitonogamy is genetically it is autogamous type. So when you just look into the different types of pollinations, This is the autogamies. So transfer of pollen grain from the flower onto the stigma of the same flower. Whereas in the case of gummy, pollen grain from one flower onto the stigma of another flower of the same plant is geitonogamy is. So it is genetically autogamy because the same plant only, but functionally xenogamy. So answer is A. Double endosperm is found in. So in the case of coconut, you can find uh, nuclear endosperm as well as cellular endosperm. That's why it is double endosperm. The liquid fluid is actually nuclear endosperm is, whereas the white kernel is cellular endosperm is. X-albuminous seeds are you can find them in pea, groundnut, and beans. Whereas here in the first option, wheat is albuminous, remaining to X-albuminous only. In the second option, castor is albuminous, dicot albuminous. In the third option, wheat again, and even castor also, even rice also. So all the three are albuminous only. Hydrophily is limited to 30 genera, which are mostly monocots. So hydrophily you don't find in much angiosperms. This is limited to only few genera only in monocots. Examine the figure. So you have supposed to find out different parts. It is A. Megasporangium is equivalent to, it is equivalent to ovule, whereas the embryo sac is equivalent to female gametophyte. Sahiwal cows of Punjab are developed by, so they are developed by both artificial selection and domestication. How many true breeding pea plants varieties were selected by Mendel? So true breeding pea plants means totally 14. So he has selected totally 7 pairs of characters. So for example, if I take tall, dwarf, one pair. So true breeding tall as well as true breeding dwarf. Like this 7 pairs means totally 14 different true breeding plants he has taken. All traits can express themselves in heterozygous condition except. So uh, recessive alleles cannot be expressed in the heterozygous condition. Wrinkled seed is that. Mendel proposed a law of dominance and law of segregation based on monohybrid cross. The ability of a gene to have multiple phenotypes is pleiotropy, like sickle cell anemia gene, for example. 50% sperms are devoid of sex chromosomes in. See, in the case of grasshopper, you can see uh, male is XO, whereas the female is XX. Therefore, the 50% of sperms will consist of X chromosome. Remaining 50% won't consist of any sex chromosome. So the answer is C. In the case of melandrium, it's a plant where sex determination will be similar to human and Drosophila, XXXY type. Moth is similar to birds like ZWZZ. Bee is similar to, bee is actually having haplodiploidy. So the answer is C. Select the odd one out with respect to hemophilia. So hemophilia is not dominant disorder. That's why it is a wrong answer. Select the correct match. So when you just look into the sex limited and sex influenced traits, sex limited trait means it is limited to only one sex, that is male or female. So if you just take the secondary sexual characters, for example, they are all sex limited traits only. Maybe development of bird, right? It's a sex limited trait. So they are actually responsible for sexual dimorphism also, secondary sexual characters. Whereas sex influenced trait can be expressed in both male and female, but how much it is like expressed, it depends on the sex of the organism. So pattern baldness, here it can be expressed actually in male and female, but in female, for this one has to be expressed, it should be homozygous condition. But in the case of male, in heterozygous condition also it can be expressed, which means in male, this particular allele which is responsible for the pattern baldness is dominant, but in the case of female it is recessive. That's how the relationship changes in the case of sex influenced traits. Substitution of purine with another type of purine is, so when you just look into the mutations, point mutations here, so A and G are purines, C, T, U are pyrimidines. So here in this case, A replaced with G. or G replaced with A. That is one purine replaced with another purine, or maybe this. One pyrimidine with another pyrimidine, or another pyrimidine is this. So these are all transitions. So if one purine is replaced by another purine or pyrimidine by another pyrimidine, then it is transition S. So these green color dotted lines are actually transitions. Whereas if one purine is replaced by another pyrimidine or pyrimidine replaced by purine, so all these are the different possibilities, that is transversions. Aneuploidy, which results in the loss of complete homologous pair of chromosomes is. So here this condition is 2n minus 2 because both homologous chromosomes are missing. So it is nullisomies. Which of the following abnormalities is due to X-linked recessive mutation? Cystic fibrosis is autosomal recessive. Thalassemia is also autosomal recessive. Klinefelter syndrome is actually chromosomal disorder where XXY condition will cause this. This is the one actually X-linked recessive, like color blindness and hemophilia. Mr. Steven is suffering from hemophilia and cystic fibrosis. His father is heterozygous for cystic fibrosis. The probability of Steven's sperms having a recessive X-linked as well as autosomal alleles. So here actually this data is not required, just given, but you don't have to use this data. Directly you can tell the genotype of this person. So he is having hemophilia. So as hemophilia is X-linked recessive, he must be X small h y. Whereas he is having cystic fibrosis. As it is autosomal recessive, it is expressed means it is definitely recessive condition, that is homozygous recessive condition only. So his genotype is X small h y small c small c. This is what you can write from this data. Now the probability of his sperms having recessive X-linked chromosome as well as autosomal allele. So if you just write his gametes, sperms produced from him, the possibilities are XH small c y small c. So this one will not affect the probability here because 100% of his sperms will have the small c only. Now when it comes to X-linked recessive one, 50% of his sperms. So directly you can write this, otherwise half into 1 with respect to this. So it is half. You can calculate in any way. So the answer is half. Progeny with blood group O cannot be obtained in the cross. So when the parents are O and AB, they can have the children of A type and B type only. They cannot have the children of AB and O types. It is not possible. So the answer is C. RNA possesses additional dash group at the dash position in the sugar. So we are just talking about the sugar only. So the sugar difference between the sugars of this and this is deoxyribose sugar in the DNA, ribose sugar in this. So it is hydroxyl group in the 2' position, but DNA consists of hydrogen there. Heterochromatin. Heterochromatin means it's a chromatin material which is densely packed like this, whereas the euchromatin is packed like this. It is loosely packed. Because of this, this one will take more amount of strain and will appear dark in under the microscope, whereas this one will appear light under the microscope. So it is densely packed. The biochemical nature of transforming principle was defined by these three scientists. B is the answer. Semi-conservative DNA replication was proved by Messels and Stahl. So what they have used means it is a heavy isotope of nitrogen, that is N15. Which of the following acts as substrate as well as uh, provide energy for DNA? So here DNTPs, that is deoxyribonucleoside triphosphates. They will provide energy because there are phosphodiester bonds which will be broken to produce DNMPs. So here energy is released and these are the monomers also. DNA replication is both semi-conservative and semi-discontinuous. The mRNA of prokaryotes is, it is polycistronic. So when you just look into the lac operon, there you can just understand this. So when I just see the mRNA produced, in the case of the lac operon, this can produce three different polypeptides. So each part, each component which is able to synthesize one polypeptide is one cistron. So it is having three cistrons here. So it is polycistronic condition, which you can see only in the case of prokaryotes. So if it is eukaryote, when I take one particular mRNA, it can synthesize only one polypeptide chain. Soluble RNA is, so tRNA was earlier considered as soluble RNA. Which of the following codon is known as occur? So the occur is actually UAA. So there are different names for the stop codons. So UAG is amber, UAA is occur, UGA is opal or amber. So there are actually different names given by different scientists. So these are some names for these stop codons. Activation of amino acids during translation is done by. So it is actually done by amino acid tRNA synthesis. This is what activation of amino acid is. Movement of ribosome on mRNA is. So when mRNA is like this, the ribosome bound with this and it will move on this. This is translocation is. In lac operon, beta galactosidase enzyme is made by, it is LAGZ. How many total number of genes are found in human genome is 30,000. SNP is single nucleotide polymorphism. Sugars are attached to the pyrimidine by the formation of, when you just look into the DNA or RNA structure. So if I take one strand, sugar and phosphate are present in this backbone and bases are projecting like this. Between the sugar and base, you can find N-glycosidic bond. Between sugar and one phosphate, you can find phosphoester bond. Between two sugars, you can find phosphodiester bond. This is one ester bond, this is one ester bond. This is phosphodiester bond is. Whereas between two different bases, so one base of one strand, the other base of the other strand. Between these two, you can find hydrogen bonds, either two or three. Next, cytidine is, so cytidine is nucleoside. So if it is nucleotide, then it has to have the name like cytidinic acid, otherwise cytidine monophosphate or diphosphate like that. So it is nucleoside. Which of the following process is related to reverse transcription? It is RNA dependent DNA synthesis. How many locations have been identified in human genome where this single base pair difference occurs? 1.4 million. And RNA polymerase 3 can catalyze tRNA mainly. In addition to that, 5S rRNA, snRNA also. Synthesis of leading and lagging strand require. So leading strand require only one primer, whereas lagging strand require many such primers. So each Okazaki fragment, when you just see, each Okazaki fragment consists of one particular primer. When the genomes of two people are cut using the same restriction enzyme, the length and number of fragments obtained are different. This is called restriction fragment length polymorphism. So here, so when I take individual 1, his genome, and individual 2 and his genome, and if I am using the same restriction enzyme, I may get the fragments like this, and in the second person I may get the fragments maybe like this, depending on where this restriction site is present. So when I just compare the sizes of these fragments obtained, I can find the difference. This is what restriction fragment length polymorphism is. So we are just a polymorphism in the fragment length we are finding out by digesting with the restriction enzyme. So the answer is B. So these are all the answers for this particular question paper, right? Thank you very much.